Try something. If it doesn't work, then I'll concede.
So you think another pretty early win for Bruno? Would you go along with that, Lennox?
I'll go along with that, definitely.
All right, let's see what happened then. We're all set then. It's scheduled for 10 rounds. Bruno against Coetzer. It's sponsored by the Mirror Group of newspapers, and Harry is down at ringside.
Inside, we're going to take you to the dressing room. Here is the man that Bruno's face, the heavily moustached Pierre Coetzer. Looked rather like a military man from olden days. And I wonder if those memories of the Riddick-Bowe fight only last July, I wonder if they're still with him. He's going to be outweighed tonight by 23.5 pounds. That's a lot to give away to a known puncher. But, to be fair to Coetzer, when you look through his record, you have to say that he's appeared to be durable, no matter what the class of opposition may have been. And the only man to have stopped him so far, in all his fights, has been Riddick-Bowe. And although he cuts, he has never lost a fight through being stopped that way. Mighty fanfare as Pierre Coetzer, the 30-year-old, follows the South African flag into this Wembley Arena ring, which has become almost like a home to the man he must face tonight. Frank Bruno has had so many of his fights in this ring, so many dramatic wins. And here's the man himself, Franklin Roy Bruno, MBE. And looking like a man who's ready to go to work.
Good luck, big fella.
Weighing in today at a massive 17 stone 6, that is 10 pounds heavier than he was in his last fight here with Jose Ribalta in April. And some 6,000 to 7,000 people now awaiting his entrance into the arena. And he's going to get an almighty cheer. Say that he's fairly popular. Well, that's one of the best receptions Bruno's ever had. Swathed in white. And that is what he's done over the years. Just the 3 defeats, and 2 of those came in world title fights against Tim Witherspoon and Mike Tyson. And these electric moments that you always get before the start of an important heavyweight fight. And Coetzer's record, he too has lost just 3 times. The only man to stop him, as we said earlier, the useful American prospect, Riddick-Bowe. Our MC is Mike Chinfield.
Now, gentlemen, please. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main event on this evening's program. National Promotion, sponsored by the Sunday Mirror and the Daily Mirror, proudly present a heavyweight contest of 10 3-minute rounds, an official eliminating contest for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World. Presenting and introducing in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, from South Africa, Pierre Coetzer. And from London, ladies and gentlemen, Bruno. At the weigh-in today, Coetzer scale 15 stones 10.5 pounds, Bruno 17 stones 6 pounds. The officials for the contest, ladies and gentlemen, appointed by the IBF. The judges are Torben Hansen from Denmark, Heinrich Müller from Germany, Aldevito from the United States. The referee is Mr. Roy Francis of England, the supervisor Mr. John Morris of England, and the timekeeper Mr. Ray Rice from England.
3 judges in attendance tonight to score this, because this is an official eliminator for the IBF version of the world title. Evander Holyfield is their champion. So 3 judges will score. Roy Francis is the non-scoring referee. Well, the last time Frank Bruno met a South African in this ring, the South African lasted 1 minute and 50 seconds. Bruno and Coetzer. And just as everybody imagined, Coetzer is going to come for Bruno. Bruno won't have to go looking for him. Little right clip to the ear from Bruno. And the South African, who knows this is his last chance to get anywhere near a world title fight, has come to fight. Bruno has quite a lot of reach advantage, although Coetzer is actually an inch taller. Hitting and holding. With that moustache, Coetzer really does look like a man from another age. And already, the stabbing left hand of Bruno is proving a deterrent to Coetzer. He's finding it difficult to get past it. And although Bruno weighs this massive 17 stone 6, he still looks quite lively on his feet. And Coetzer getting clubbed to the head, even in the clinch. But once again, Bruno told by Roy Francis not to hold. And Coetzer throwing plenty of punches in these little flurries. And certainly Frank doesn't want to take any chances. So far, Bruno hasn't come across with the really big right hand, the one that destroyed Ribalta a few months ago. Bruno has a quiet, saucy look at Coetzer as they part at the end of the opening round, which Bruno pinched, mostly on the left hand. The occasional right clip to the head. Quite a hard opening round, because Coetzer was always coming towards him. I don't know what our two guests up in the studio feel about that. Can we have a word from either one of them?
Yes, well, go ahead, Gary.
You go ahead, Lennox.
I would feel that Coetzer actually won that first round, Harry, because he was on the attack from the beginning. From the first spell, he was on the attack. I feel Bruno needs to, you know, step on that jab. When he's coming back with that hook, throw the right hand right after the hook.
I think now, Harry, Frank's been put in with someone who's putting up a test. He's been hit back. Now we're going to see whether Frank's ready for a world title challenge after this or not.
Seconds out, round 2.
Okay, so the clear gist of opinion upstairs is that Bruno's got a lively opponent. Coetzer looking very red in the face. He's got that mark underneath the right eye that he picked up sparring with Joe Buckner's son. Bruno holding with the left hand round the back of Coetzer's head. Coetzer's own left jab getting to work. And still the big right hand hasn't come over from Frank. Mark, some red appearing at the side of Coetzer's left eye's cut, underneath the eye. Doesn't look too bad, but the first damage has appeared. Quite a dangerous looking left hook from Coetzer there. Has all the makings of a fair old battle. And Bruno is getting himself into troubled waters here with Roy Francis with that holding. There's the left hook of Coetzer's again. That might be the biggest danger punch he has. I don't think Bruno's unleashed the really big guns yet. And again, Bruno gives him a long, sidelong glance as they part at the bell. Bruno unmarked, but we know that Coetzer has got some slight damage to the left eye, and this is probably how it was caused, with those left jabs being pushed through and a bit of elbow to go with it. There's the South African. It's on the other side, the cut. It's, I think it's just underneath the left eye. It's not serious, but there certainly was a smear of blood there.
10 seconds. Seconds out, round 3.
Bruno's had under 8 minutes competitive boxing in the last 3.5 years. And if this goes any distance, that might tell. And again, the left hook from Coetzer, I think that's hurt Bruno. The left hook, which was the danger punch in the second round, has found him again. And I'm pretty certain Bruno felt that quite hard. Again, Bruno holding with the left hand. He's really got to find the big punch here to deter this South African. Coetzer threatening to rough him up. Coetzer always crouching in and ducking in under the big punches, not giving Bruno too much chance to get set to throw the big right. Bruno clubbing him down inside, but not with full leverage. Round 3. That's a beautiful left hand underneath from Bruno. But we know that Coetzer can take a punch, and he can certainly give one. Roy France is just beginning to lose his rag with Bruno. Big attack by Coetzer, and Bruno doesn't want to stand around in the corner and get caught with those. Still, Coetzer manages to take those clubbing right hands. Most of them he's taking on the top of the head because he's coming in, crouching. Big attack by Bruno. And the action swaying from one side to the other. That was a tough round. And I'm sure that the men upstairs, Lennox Lewis and Gary Mason, will confirm that this is as hard a fight as Frank's had for some time.
Definitely, Harry. Bruno's doing the right thing. He's definitely doing what he's supposed to with that jab. That's what he's going to need to do. Just keep him off with the jab and prepare Coetzer for the right hand, the club-in right hand, which is going to end it.
I think this fight's going to come down to who wants it most. Both men think they've got everything to fight for at this stage, and Coetzer has come here to really have a fight. Frank's been caught the first time since Mike Tyson, and now we'll see whether Frank has got the real ambition or desire to become world champion or to challenge for the world title.
Okay, Gary, thank you.
10 seconds.
This fight being sponsored by Mirror Group newspapers.
Seconds out, round 4.
Well, it's the sort of test that Frank Bruno had to have if he was going to make good his ambitions to go for another world title fight. It never looked like being easy on paper. Coetzer beginning to look slightly weary. He's taken a few clubbing punches to the head, and they may be beginning to have their effect, and maybe the punches that Riddick Bowe caught him with only 3 or 4 months ago, they might tell in this fight too. Coetzer coming back into it again. The moment Frank eases up, the South African is straight back at him. It's not the cleanest of fights. A bit of elbow going in. Coetzer's cut under the right eye. That's the injury he brought in with him. And it's opened up again. And underneath the eye is not dangerous. Bruno's left hand into the body has looked his best punch so far. Apart from the niggling jab all the time in Coetzer's face, and that's caused the cut under the right eye. Round 4. Well, we have to find a courageous man to represent you in heavyweight boxing. It certainly would be Coetzer. Bruno's cautioned about the shoulder now. He's done the elbow, the shoulder, he's done a bit of holding. Still holding with the left hand. That's the old Muhammad Ali trick. Low one from Coetzer. Bruno really needs to keep him away. He doesn't want him too close in. And that is another very hard round for these two men. And Coetzer now clearly marked under both eyes. But I don't think they'll disturb him too much. If Bruno wants to win this fight, he's going to have to club this man into the ground. Would you agree with me, Lennox?
Yes, Harry, could you repeat that, please?
I said if Bruno wants to get rid of him, he's going to have to club him into the ground.
Definitely. He's doing the right thing. Things are starting to open up when he uses that jab. He doesn't really need to get into a fight with him. He should really keep him at bay.
And at this stage, I think both men are very wary. It's a hard fight. If Frank could go back to using the long jab that he has, it will actually now become the deterrent. But if he continues to stay close quarters with Coetzer, it will allow Coetzer the confidence that he needs.
And the South African now comes out, I think, the 3 cuts. I think he's got a very slight one above the right eye as well as under. It is essential if Bruno's going to win this that he tries to keep him at long range, not only to keep himself out of trouble, where he can get some leverage to get his own right hand to work. Now the cut above the right eye. Coetzer becoming more obvious as it begins to bleed again. And this is a real tough maul. That's a good right. That's one of the best right hands that Bruno's put across so far. And this South African demonstrates his resilience. He took it so well. A lot of Bruno's past opponents would have collapsed like a deck chair at that point. Bruno being dragged into this close quarter stuff that he doesn't really need. Coetzer now, I think, he's cut above the left eye as well. I think he's now got 4 cuts. Now, one of these cuts is bleeding very badly, but he's slowly being pierced and perforated around the eyes. Again, this clubbing right hand, which is about the only time Bruno's really being able to use his right hand. He's so close in all the time, he has to bring it down, chopping onto the top of the head. Coetzer far from beaten at this point. He's still got some strength left. And not one bit of his courage has been drained out of him yet. Roy France is having a very close look at Coetzer's face there as he parted them. The two of them now, I think, are desperately tired.
They can't either. 5 rounds, halfway point. But Coetzer's face now, very heavily marked, although he's not bleeding badly. I'm pretty certain he's cut above and below both eyes. I may be wrong about the left, but I thought I saw blood there. That's the worst cut, the one underneath the right eye, but it's not too dangerous in that position. There's a nasty-looking diagonal cut above the right eye, which could become very awkward. Here's some replay from that last round. That was a good, not one of Bruno's best punches, but one of the best he's thrown in this fight. And he's simply not being allowed the chances. He's got a live opponent who's moving around and closing in on him all the time.
Seconds out, round 6.
So a grueling heavyweight fight in the Wembley Arena. The 17 stone 6 Frank Bruno in his 38th fight. His third in this comeback against the man from Pretoria, Pierre Coetzer, in his 43rd fight tonight. Sometimes in past fights, when they've gone any distance, Bruno has begun to look a little short of ideas and sometimes runs out of steam after about 6 rounds. We're in the 6th. And Bruno really needs to go to work. Beginning to jab with the right hand now. Strange tactics. Well, those 6 weeks of training now, this is where it's got to pay off, if it's going to pay off. Bruno's breathing hard. And again, the elbow and the shoulder going in from Bruno. Tries the big slashing right hand. And that only stirs Coetzer into action. Certainly Coetzer is definitely cut above the left eye now, looking rather worse. Again, the elbow in his face. Roy France is telling him yet again. And Bruno's having to take quite a few punches in order to get his own in. That's a better right hand. And a left to the body as well from Bruno. And Coetzer is going through a very rough passage at the moment. Heads and shoulders banging together. A lot of dirty work going on, and I have to say it, most of it coming from Bruno. Coetzer is cut in many places. He's far from beaten. Lennox, what do you feel about it? I feel that Frank's doing the right thing. As he uses that left jab, things always open up for him. He's slowly dissecting Coetzer. That's the way I see it.
I think that Frank's fighting the wrong sort of fight at this stage. He's getting involved, he's mixing, and it's going to come to who has the will. Coetzer is a better in-close fighter than Frank, so Frank should take it on the outside, take advantage of the cuts around the eyes that we can see now, and work from there.
Okay. Two gentlemen upstairs, not quite agreeing. But it's a hard fight. There's the heads rubbing together. It's the shoulder and the elbow. This is shoulder going in from Bruno. That's the sort of thing that's incurring the wrath of Roy Francis. Not so much the head.
10 seconds.
Well, this is the longest fight Bruno's had since the one with Bugner, Joe Bugner.
Seconds out.
Back in
Round
October
7.
1987 at the Spurs football ground. That went 8 rounds, and Bruno stopped him in the 8th. And now we're in the 7th of this one. Well, everybody said that one day Frank Bruno would have to have a real test. He's certainly getting it tonight. Bruno's mouth showing signs of damage. Coetzer, a really rugged battler from the old school. The Bruno corner, quite urgently calling to their man now. Push him off, get to him, come on Frank. Coetzer is still there and he's still coming back at him. And it's become, as I think Gary Mason said earlier, a battle of wills. Who wants it more? And Coetzer is in a lot of trouble now. But again, he manages to get out of the corner and comes back with a left hook. Bravery of a very high order. Couple of big socking right hands. Coetzer tries to find his own. But the pain from those cuts on the face, the pain from this incessant hammering must be getting through even to this Iron Man from South Africa. Well, we all knew that Coetzer was a tough man. I wonder if we realised he was quite as tough as he is. Bruno's not very careful here. He could just get himself slung out. And Frank can't put him on the floor. Bruno's lower lip bleeding quite heavily. A rough, tough, but fascinating fight, because it's not over yet. And you don't quite know what might happen here. They're doing their utmost to really put new life and new determination into Coetzer, who's cut around both eyes, but is still going to come out for the 8th. Bruno had him in trouble several times here against the ropes, but he could never find the punch to put him down. Some of those body punches would, well, they tear me in half. An almost too grim look at the battered face of the South African.
10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 8.
Coetzer's cuts have been cleaned up. 3 rounds left. Bruno's lower lip shining redly under the lights. And again he takes a sopping left hook, Bruno. That was a good punch from Coetzer. And it's going to take all of Bruno's determination here to weather this. Bo got rid of this man in 7 rounds. It's taken Frank a little longer. He hasn't got rid of him yet either. Coetzer still, amazingly, still finding strength from somewhere. He's the one coming forward. That's a better punch. That hurt him at last. Bruno got through a punch that hurt him, and he's come out almost on top of me. He was only saved because 2 or 3 people around me helped push him back. And so, for the first time in the 8th round, Bruno's right hand suddenly came through, and Coetzer went down. He hasn't been down too many times in his career. And here's the chance for Bruno to bring it all to an end in dramatic fashion. It took him 8 rounds to really get through. And the towel has come in from the South African corner. It's all over. They've pulled Coetzer out of the fight. That's a pretty humane gesture, because he was going to take more punishment, and Bruno lifts his arms aloft. He's come through a very, very severe test indeed, and come through it triumphantly. But what a struggle it was. And there were moments in that fight, you have to say, when you wondered whether he would come through it successfully. But he did in the 8th round, when the South African corner tossed the towel in and indicated that they wished their man to be rescued. Some fight. Well, these were the dramatic closing moments. That was the punch that started it all off. A huge right hand to the top of the head, took him to the ropes, and then I think the punch had still left him dazed, and he came out on top of one of my monitors here. Stunning punch, and he hadn't really recovered when Bruno came for him again, and he couldn't support himself sufficiently to stop himself tumbling through the ropes. And if people hadn't been here to push him back, he might not have got back.
Gentlemen, please.
So, a typical Bruno attack at the finish. When he has them going, he knows how to finish them.
In a position to continue. The referee has stopped the contest. Winner, ladies and gentlemen.
And the official decision, not a retirement. The towel is not actually accepted, but the referee has stopped the fight in the 8th round, and Frank Bruno, in his 35th win in a 10-year professional career, bows to the crowd and takes his applause and knows that he's been through a fight. It took a long time before he finally managed to crack this man's resistance. And really, if helping hands hadn't been there, I think Coetzer might have been on the floor outside the ring.
Gentlemen, your appreciation, please, for the loser, Pierre Coetzer.
And the MC calls for the well-deserved applause for a very gallant opponent, Pierre Coetzer, who knows now that his world title ambitions are over, and Frank Bruno knows that the world is still there for taking. Now then, let's have an opinion from the gentleman upstairs.
Thank you, Harry. Yes, Frank obviously had to go to work tonight, and perhaps Coetzer was a better opponent than we chaps here anticipated before the fight, right, Gary? I mean, he put up a pretty good show.
Have you heard of the saying Dutch courage? because Coetzer is an Afrikaan, he's like a Dutch South African, and I suppose he fought with the pride that I think he had to do before he went home, and he provided Frank with a well-needed test. Now we have an idea of where Frank may fit in the world rankings.
And where's that?
Frank deservedly is in the world rankings, and he could step in maybe around 4th or 5th or somewhere like that, but he still needs one more test. And he's ready for another test. He's ready now, straight into another fight, and then maybe anything could happen after that.
Lennox, what did you think overall about Frank? He didn't seem to have such a sharp jab as he's had in previous fights.
I felt the weight was very apparent because of the fact that...
Carrying too much weight, you think, almost?
Yes, definitely, because his jabs lacked a lot of snap behind it. What I'm used to seeing Frank Bruno with a snappy jab, especially in his last fight, there was a lot of snap behind his punch. This one, he was kind of less pouring it out and preparing for the big right hand, and that was his honey punch, the big right hand. But he dissected the South African very well.
He certainly dissected him in certain ways too, didn't he? It was a pretty dirty fight, Gary, wasn't it?
Well, Frank used all the tricks of the trade. If Coetzer had used them on Frank, there'd be a lot more screaming, but if Frank does it, it's okay.
Yeah. What about the sort of punches that Frank had to take in that? I mean, did you feel that Coetzer had a weight behind his punch very much, Lennox?
Not really, because watching a lot of tapes on Coetzer, I know Frank did. The best punch that Coetzer his honey punch is his left hook. And Frank did the right thing, kept on turning him, nudging him back, and kept him off balance.
I never thought, honestly, watching the fight, that Coetzer was ever going to win it. Did you, Gary?
No, there were times when I'd be like we see here now, where Coetzer was coming back with some counters.
This is the 8th. This is the 8th
when it ended, when he caught him round the side. I think he had enough by then, but Coetzer did catch Frank with some punches, which is a worrying thing, because when he steps up another grade, he's going to be hit like that with guys that have like real venomous punches, and that's something that's worrying. That's why I'd say you reserve judgment on whether he should go straight into a major title fight next or not.
These are the closing moments. The towel came in, which has no effect, but the referee made his own decision to step in there and stop it, and it was quite right. A good stoppage, wasn't it? Because you didn't want the man to get any more hurt than he was getting hurt at that stage. But we can hear from Frank now, because he's with Harry.
Frank, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Harry.
You don't want them too much harder than that, do you?
Not really, Harry, but as you can well know, that I've been at the ring for 3 years and I need some, you know what I mean, something to take me more than 2 rounds, Harry. He took me 8 rounds. He was a very tough guy. People are going to start saying, oh, you should have knocked him out earlier, but he's a tough guy, durable guy, Harry.
Now, he didn't let you do your best work for a long time because he kept crowding you. You knew he'd come, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew he'd come, Harry, and he did come, you know.
Right.
And he was throwing some sort of like left hooks and uppercuts and all sorts of different shots. And that's the sort of work I need, Harry.
Right. 1 or 2 left hooks seemed to me to hurt you quite badly, is that right?
I don't think they hurt me badly, Harry. I've got to learn how to pace myself because I can't knock everybody over, if you know what I mean, Harry. I've got to pace myself sometimes.
Well, we knew he was a tough opponent, but was he a bit tougher than even you thought?
Not really. He's as tough as I thought he would be. I had to pace myself. That's why I put on the extra poundage to sort of like try and weigh him down, Harry, and I did weigh him down.
Now tell me about the 8th round, because when you caught him up the top of the head with that right hand, that's what set everything going.
Yeah, he looked like he turned away a little bit, and I tried to follow it up, and Roy Francis saved him because he could have got serious damage.
Well, he very nearly came out of the ring on top of it.
Yeah, you can not on that suit, Harry, the birthday suit. I'd like to wish you a happy birthday today. It's your birthday, mate.
Now, are you happy with this performance? I mean, is this exactly what you wanted?
I'm happy with the performance, Harry, because I went 8 rounds. I got a little bit of rust out myself. There's a lot of things I need to work on with my trainer, George Francis, but I can get better, Harry. I only can get better. He's a tough guy, and I needed this sort of like more than 2 rounds. Just 8 rounds, good 8 rounds, good pace. The guy pressuring me, Harry, and you know what I mean, testing me.
Everybody kept saying that you needed a decent opponent, you needed a better fight.
Yeah.
And you got it.
Harry, if I would have knocked him out in 2 or 1 rounds, I would have got criticised. If I stopped him in 8 rounds, I would have got criticised. All I know is that coming up to Christmas, I'd like to thank God that I won. And hello, Nicola and Rachel. I know you're up watching. Take it easy. I'm home soon, baby. And to everybody in Springs for looking after me again. Thank you very much.
When do you think you might fight again?
Mickey Duffy's going to be on my back.
I've got Mickey right here. Come in, Mick. When do you think Frank might fight again?
I don't know. I would say early next year, certainly not this year. Sometime next year, we've got to sit down, we've got to discuss an opponent with him, with George Francis. At the end of the day, these days, he makes his own decision, nobody else. I can recommend, George can recommend, but the final decision is left with him.
Give me the name of a possible opponent next spring.
You, Harry. You're past your 60s, you.
Really, you know, you could think of several opponents. Give me a night's sleep.
Right.
Give me and incidentally, he's ready for Holyfield.
Right.
That's no problem at all.
Jarvis has got to cough up his money a little bit, you know what I mean, and get it on it wet.
Okay, thanks very much, the pair of you.
Thank you very much,
And
Harry.
go away, have a nice family Christmas
Thank
and
you.
enjoy it.
I'd like to say a special hello and happy Christmas to everybody watching, especially at Springs. You're wicked. Thank
What's
you very
this,
much
radio?
for looking after me. Thank you very much, Harry.
Thank you very
Take it easy, everybody.
Never forgets the PR, does he? Good old Frank. But here's a man that reckons he could beat him, of course, Lennox. That's what the British public really want to see. They want to see you and Frank get it on, to use the boxing parlance. What about it all? You've got Razor Ruddock first in 2 weeks' time.
Definitely. I got Razor Ruddock on October 31st, and that's going to be at Earl's Court. And, you know, tickets are still available. Might as well push for my fight as well.
Sure, of course, but that is a real tough fight for you, because a lot of people think that Ruddock's going to do you.
Well, you know, that's usually the case, but I feel very confident in my own ability. I'm just going to go in there and do what comes naturally, and that's box. I feel that it's time for the changing of the guards as it goes, and I'm not taking the easy way to Holyfield. I'm taking the most direct route, and by boxing Razor Ruddock, I feel I'm going to gain a lot of respect out of everybody.
And if you beat Ruddock convincingly, of course, you'll...
When I beat Razor Ruddock.
Sorry, I got that right. I usually use if, but you use when. When you beat him, you'll feel absolutely confident about going against the winner of Holyfield and Riddick Bowe, then, will you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
The whole world will actually see who Lennox Lewis is.
All right. But how would you feel about, supposing you win the world title and Bruno's still around and in business and he were to challenge you, you'd take him on?
Yeah, definitely.
Beat him easy?
Well, I think it'll be a good fight, and I think it won't go past the five rounds.
Let's get an impartial view from Gary Mason. What do you think's going to happen when this man meets Razor Ruddock in 2 weeks' time? And then what do you think would happen if this man fought Bruno?
I think Lennox Lewis, by fighting Razor Ruddock, is fighting supposedly the best heavyweight in the world outside of the champion. Lennox Lewis will win that fight on points, I believe, or a late stoppage, and then he'll go on to beat whoever the champion is. And a defence against Frank Bruno is a natural fight, and that'll be a very big fight. And I see Lennox Lewis coming through as the winner in that fight.
Well, Britain's been waiting for a world heavyweight champion for a very long time, and you think this is the man. He thinks it's the man, but you think it's the man.
I think this is the man to do. Des, can I take a liberty? Can I just say thank you to the people at Magnet and Southerns and all the people who...
they're all at it. They're all at it.
Hold it down.
They're all at it.
Everybody else is at it.
I'll be passing messages on
Des is
soon.
going to do a plug in a minute. Good.
Thanks, Gary. Lennox, good luck with your fight in 2 weeks' time. Very best of luck there. But overall, a good performance there by Bruno tonight. Right. Now it's the football. And tonight we'll be watching the top team in the Midlands, Coventry City, and their new young star from the Midlands of Africa, the Zimbabwean Ndlove.